What's up, guys? In this video, we're going to talk about pushing yourself, right? Getting stuff done. Before we do that, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Hit the like button. Also, tell me what you want to talk about. Tell me the things you're concerned about or what you're struggling with. All right? With that, let's talk about this. It's something that we all struggle with. Procrastination, pushing yourself, trying to get things done, whatever it is that we're after. And what I've discovered is you gotta break it down into these little pieces, right? And when we procrastinate, it's because we try to take too much on at once, or it's too big in our head. When we break it down to these little pieces, then we can get things done. So in other words, when I'm doing these videos, I think about, well, I want to do so many. And then all I see is this big picture of, oh my gosh, I've got to make 10 videos, or no. Let's break it down into one video idea. And then I'll make some notes about what do I want to say during all this, right? And so then I've got that little piece set aside. And then I think about the next subject and what do I want to say in that video, and I make a few notes. And then when it comes time to make these, I just go look at what I've already done. I don't walk in here, stand in front of the camera and think 10 videos and I've got to do all this at once. I break it down into little pieces. And we have to do that with everything, right? When you go out to mow the yard, you don't mow the entire yard. You mow the front, and then you mow the side, and you mow the back. We just do it in little pieces. And that's the way we got to get things done. That's why we have to quit procrastinating, is because we're trying to take on too much at one time. And I say too much at one time, not too much at one time physically, in our life, but too much at one time in our head. It's too big in our head. We got to break it down into smaller pieces. Does that make sense? So when you break it down into smaller pieces, then if you do the one little piece, you feel like you got some momentum. If you do the next little piece, you feel like you got momentum. Right? Does that make sense? So it's so important when you're trying to get to that next level. You're trying to make something happen in your life. You're trying to make changes. Just like going to the gym. I made a video about going to the gym. I was not going to the gym without a partner. Now it's a habit. But I had to break it down to the smallest piece for me, which was what was going to make me go. And I broke it down to, I had to have accountability. Accountability, that was going to be my key. If I broke it down to what was my fear, what was my reservation, what would make me procrastinate, it was I procrastinated. I had fear. What would get rid of that? What would get rid of that was having a partner, someone to be accountable to. So that worked for me. The same way I talked about with doing these videos. If I look at, I need to do so many, I'll do none. But if I break it down into little pieces, then I can move forward. I feel like I accomplished something, even if I just sit down for 4 minutes and wrote out a couple of things, right? And then I went to work for the day and did what I had to do, and then spent time with the kids, and then I get back in the evening and I made a few notes. Maybe it was only 4 or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but I made progress. And then maybe I did that for 2 or 3 days, and now I've got enough information for 10 videos. Well, now I'm just down to recording them like this. And so I made progress. And we will all procrastinate when the pieces are too big. When you break them down into small pieces, then we'll make progress. Okay? So when we're talking about getting things done or pushing ourselves, here's the difficult part. When you become an adult, you have to push yourself. And we don't push ourselves simply because we take too big of pieces. We don't break them down into small enough pieces. And that's what causes us to procrastinate. Instead of doing one little thing. I've had a bunch of clothing and sheets and stuff sitting out by the garage door that needed to go to Goodwill for a good while. And it was because part of it was my son's, part of it was my daughter's, and part of it was myself. And I found some things in there that I wasn't sure needed to go. But instead of asking my kids to go through it and make sure, I just let it sit there. Instead of, you know, I could have hauled it all, but instead I hauled none because I was concerned that somebody was getting rid of something that maybe they put it in the pile by mistake. So finally I just said, hey, can you guys take a minute and go out there and look through it? Yeah. So they looked through it and it was all good, and I took it. But I kept procrastinating because it was too big. I didn't break it down into the small pieces. The other thing I could have done that I never did, and I won't make that mistake again, was I could have just taken my stuff. It's just down the street here. I could have just taken my stuff and there'd have been a third of it gone, but I didn't. I did nothing. So you all get the point of breaking these things down into smaller bite-sized pieces, because that's why we procrastinate. We look at it as too big in our mind. It's probably not too big physically, but it's too big in our mind, and then we do nothing. Right? So with that, give me a thumbs up. Tell me what you want to talk about, and I will see you in the next video.